Hello ladies, I'm Mrs. Sherman. Welcome to Homemaking Radio. Maybe you are just having a little trouble getting started, or maybe you're not feeling well and you need something to listen to, or maybe you are wanting to do what this is intended for, and that is to listen while you work. I have my favorite things to listen to that kind of motivate me, and I enjoy listening to radio, but sometimes we just need somebody to give us a little bit of encouragement. And so today I'm going to talk about a number of things and hope that it helps. And please leave a comment. I don't have comments on the YouTube channel because I am making these videos for my blog. So I'll leave a link, go over there and watch the video on my blog, and then you can see what else is on the post, which I will fill up with some of the pictures and things that I'm talking about, and you'll get to see some of the other people on my blog roll and just kind of get to leave a comment, please, because that is what keeps me going, are the comments. Now, maybe you are just new to homemaking because you have just got your own place, and also maybe you're young and you haven't had the experience, or maybe you have worked for a long time outside the home and are coming home, and those first few weeks you might have some trouble getting started. Well, this might help, and there's nothing worse than getting up in the morning and kind of walking around in circles wondering where to start. So this might help, but before I get started I have to show you my teacup for the day, and it is a light green here, and it is from a company called Meritage, and I got it at Home Goods. You can also get them at Ross, at reject stores, at Marshall's, and anything like that. Maybe even something like Tuesday Morning, I'm not sure. But this has it looks like a gold edging and some stripes on it, and the plate is like this. Very, very pretty. It's brand new, it's different, and I enjoy getting these cups for the ladies at the ladies Bible class because they like to choose a different one, and kind of gives a little variety. And I'm starting to enjoy the newer cups the better because the handles are a little bit bigger and they're not worn around the place that you drink, and it's just nice to get something new. So ladies, I also wanted to show you something. Behind me is what's called a kettle, and it has a little lever here. This is what it looks like. This is the box that it came in, Farberware, and I get these at Walmart. This shows all the parts to it, and they are automatic shut off. You can put cold water in them, and I'll just put the lever here on, and you can see there's a blue light in the bottom, and when that blue light goes off, it's reached the perfect temperature for you to make tea. Now, the reason I'm showing this today is that I was a little bit astonished at how many people today, see, we're in a different era where, you know, kettles have been around for a long time. I remember being around maybe 16 years old when the first electric kettle. There were kettles before that too, that would boil and then shut off. And also there was the one that you put on the top of your stove or hob that would whistle when it was done. But one of the problems with those kind of, they call those a kettle. That's not a teapot. This is not a teapot. It's a tea kettle. And one of the problems with the one that you heat on a burner is that by the time it whistles, you've lost quite a bit of your water into steam, and then the water becomes concentrated. This kind here will reach the perfect temperature for a cup of tea, and you won't lose any water. It'll shut off as soon as it reaches 212 or something like that, and you'll have the perfect cup of tea. But we're in an era where people don't even know what they are anymore, and it's possible that they make coffee from a coffee maker, of course, and then they try to heat the water sometimes from the coffee maker, and it tastes like coffee even though it's just water. Well, these are perfect, and I have several in my house. I have one in the guest room. I have one in my bedroom. I have one at the coffee and tea station down at the end of the laundry room. and I have one in the living room where the ladies class meets. And the reason I have so many, they're only about $15 at Walmart, and that could vary according to where you buy it. The reason I have so many is that it won't wear out one. And I used to get one, and then it would wear out eventually. How many times a day we would turn that on. And so now I have several, and no one is going to get used to death, and so they'll last quite a while. And also I like having my water handy if I'm going to make tea, whatever room I'm in. If I turn it on and it's way back in another room, I'll forget about it. So I'll have to go back and turn it on again. So I have several of these. I really highly recommend them. And if you will use distilled water in them, they won't develop that calcified, that white stuff that's calcium all over it. It won't develop that. I wanted to just kind of educate you a little bit about these because we're in an era or generation of people, even the older people, don't know what these are because they've made coffee from coffee makers, or they have had things served to them and they never saw the water boiling, or maybe they're buying things in paper cups and it's already hot, or they're getting their water from a spigot, hot water from a spigot. So they don't understand this. And I don't know how many times someone has been here and I've had this on and it started to make a little bit of a whirring noise, and they would say, oh, do you need to turn that off? You don't need to turn these off. They turn off automatically unless they're, at the end of their rope and they're malfunctioning. Or somebody will say, what's the point? Why do you do that? Because and I've seen people who think that you can make tea just by getting hot water out of the tap. That does not work. It has to be boiled, and it has to be really good water. And so I just wanted to explain that to you a little bit and how handy this is. And you can also use it for other things. Just hot water that you might want to use. It's so quickly heated. So when that gets ready, it will shut off, and that's the perfect temperature for your tea. And then a teapot is different from a tea kettle. The teapot, you never put it on the top of a burner or a stove. You put your tea bag in it and you pour this water in the teapot. Now I don't use a teapot most of the time if there's just me. My husband likes to drink coffee and I like to drink tea, but what I'll do is put the water in a cup like this, and I will use a tea bag all day. If it'll make about 5 good cups of tea, especially the Yorkshire Gold. That's pretty hearty tea. So ladies, I hope that if you see someone using a tea kettle like this, that you don't get all excited the minute it starts to make a little whirring sound. I even had a problem sometime with ladies when I had the one on the stove that had the whistle on it, and they would get all excited if it made a noise like this one is in the background, and they'd all go turn it off. And finally I had to tell them, no, you don't turn it off, you wait till you hear the whistle. They were so not really into tea, and if people don't drink tea, they don't understand something like this sometimes. So I wanted to let you know about that. And then also today, you know how on YouTube I've watched this for years. It started out with the technology boxes of things that people would order that were technology, and they'd get out their new gadgets and they would show them, and it was called the unboxing. Well, now everybody's doing things different than that. Like I watched one today that was a sewing unboxing, and it was like a subscription where she ordered a box of sewing notions and it would come every month. And so she unboxed it on the video so that she could enjoy sharing it with others. Well, today I have an unboxing from my granddaughter and my daughter. So first I want to get out what my granddaughter made me. Looks like the ribbon has fallen off. But it's a card, and it's a pop-up card, and it was for Valentine's Day. It's a bit late for that, but it's still February. But when you open it, the roof comes down on the house, and there's a little heart there, and it says, try laying this card out flat. The house shape will appear more. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? And then she said, I hope you like this card I made for you. Now, when I send her something from now on, I hadn't really thought of this before, but I could show you what I'm putting in her box. So we could have a boxing and an unboxing. So I'm going to unbox this for you. And that's like picket fence stuff up there on top, and I just love it. And of course I like the whole card. I like what she did here. And then they sent me one of these vinyl bags. You know how I love these vinyl bags. I hang them on a little peg, and I keep them all together because they're pretty, and it's just nice to have them. And this one is absolutely gorgeous. It's by, I'll tell you who it's by. It's by Patty Reed. Now Patty Reed was the one that made patterns for little girls and mom and daughter patterns, and she was in Oregon, I believe Portland, and she had a company called goodness, it was just escaped my mind. It was called Daisy Kingdom, and she had a shop, and it was full of the Daisy Kingdom fabrics, and her dresses on the envelope of the pattern had a print or something on it, and you could actually buy it in her store. So she had Patty Reed. I wish I'd had the wisdom to bring a pattern to here to show you who she was, but she had a pattern that had a little girl's dress and a mother's dress and then a doll dress to go with it. And now it looks like her company is making these vinyl bags, which I just love. And it says fresh cut blooms on. It was folded in the box, and it seems to straighten out pretty well. So that's two things. And then I got a catalog. Now this catalog, now see, we trade catalogs. Hers is called Humble Cottage Home, and mine's called Caroline's Chateau, or Caroline. I had a relative named Caroline. They called her Caroline. And we sell things to each other. And so in her catalog, she will put like art trade cards or business cards or any kind of card, greeting cards that I could order, or other things that she makes, and or little books that she's going to write. And so I will order one, or she will make a house plan, and I can order her house plan. And I can order a box. She makes boxes. And I can order a piece of art. And then when I send her a catalog, she can order a dress or a skirt that I will make for her. She can order, and we have money. We have our own currency. And I made the money from cardstock and put a little house in the middle, and so the money goes up to $1 million. And so we can even pay each other and reward each other $1 million for doing something that we don't want to do, but we can motivate each other, and we send money for all these things that we can order. Now it's pretty hard to explain. We used to do this when we were kids down in the 1950s on the homestead in the wilderness, and just the fun of it. So this is what it looks like on the cover, and she's done it all in cardstock, and the contents: party time dress, a basket of the month, and you know what to put in the basket of the month. Let me just look that up and see what she did here. And then she has, from the contents, see, now that shut off, didn't it? And it's not still steaming. That's the perfect for a tea. So don't get in a panic if you see one of these in someone's home and you hear it boiling or you see the blue light. It will shut off by itself. And a house makeover, that's what she has, and a dress design, how to draw animals for children, and a piece of art called Midnight on the Water. And here, I'll show you this one. That's the Midnight on the Water piece of art. And there is a color chart right there. And it's a game. She's made up a game. That's another thing we do, is we write games in these little books that we send to each other. So I'll show you a little bit of all of it. And that is, she wrote a poem, and it's a poem for September. And she had the basket of the month club, and it's all you will need to make a basket and put in a basket. And you can actually, get diagrams on how to do this with cardstock. And then she has in this book, now the one I write to her is a little different. and we order things from each other. She has wedding fashions here. That was fun to look at. And then she has the dress of the month, and she has a little article here called Happiness is Found in a Clean Home. Can you imagine someone who enjoys cleaning and organizing so much that they can hardly wait to finish school and get something cleaned up? She's homeschooled. Ask this lady to give you your room a makeover, and you'll always come away feeling very happy. And so it's just simple. And how to draw animals for children, and there's a step-by-step way to draw animals. Very good too. And then this is called the house. This house, she did an outside house. This house, she said, is in very good shape, but it just lacks something. So she said, this is with it repainted and re-landscaped, how much better it could be. And it's my house. She remembered. She did it from memory. My house. And so I'll get you a picture of that on my blog. That's why I want you to watch this on my blog. And then she has a house plan. And she has made up her own house plan and her own drawing of her own house, of a house that is her own idea. So then she has a menu. So there's a monthly menu birthday brunch. And it looks wonderful. I'm getting hungry. And then she has written some scriptures in this one. At the end, it reminds me of the old Ideals magazine books that we used to get. We had a subscription to. And then she has, there's a page here. It looks like from art paper too, called Humbly Cottage Home Quarterly Valentine's Day. What do I wear on Valentine's Day? And then on the back is how to make a party table for Valentine's Day. And this is a gorgeous dress. I really like that dress. So I'll show you some of that. Then I have, and she sent me a ribbon. Look at this gorgeous ribbon. Isn't that pretty? It's got it's gingham check ribbon. So I have that. Got all this in the box here. And then when I get one next time, I never thought of it before, but if I get one ready, I'll show you what I put in hers when I send hers. But she also included a photograph in a frame. Now this is a treasure. And I was reading about the Victorian era. If you ever sent someone a photograph, it wasn't because you were vain or because you were stuck on yourself or anything. People did that because they cared about you. And they did it. You were special if you got a photograph from someone, especially a framed photograph. And it was considered a real treat. Like I felt like when I got that, oh, someone put a picture in a frame for me. It's been a long time since I've gotten pictures in a frame. Everybody does it digitally now. It's just not as nice. And when you send somebody a picture of you, it just meant that you were thinking of them and you wanted them to think of you. And it wasn't anything to do with pride or being overly stuck on yourself. And I hadn't really thought of that, but we stopped giving pictures of ourselves to people years ago, and I still remember my husband's parents sending pictures of themselves to their brothers and their sisters and their friends, and they didn't really care how old they were. I mean, they were way up there, and they were still sending pictures of themselves, but that was kind of symbolic of the time, too. So now if you have something to do, I don't think I have any more to show you. So I want to start out by saying welcome to you who are new, and that this is just a radio type program. Now I've tried the podcast. I don't care for them. For some reason the sound is not the same. I don't know why, but I prefer the video, and there isn't anything to watch, but it's easier for me to make these, and it has, to me, a better sound. And so the reason would be to give you a boost if you're having trouble getting started, or you need a little bit of company while you work. And if you're having trouble getting started and you're still sitting there, reach over to the nearest surface and straighten something out. You know, maybe there's a little table next to you with a lamp on it. Grab up all the debris, straighten everything out, and then it's time to get up and go looking for some kind of, you know, I've got a spray bottle full of vinegar, and I use that as a cleaner. It's great for windows. And once you get up and you start walking around, your brain functions differently. So I think it's really important to get up and go and take care of your appearance. So if you haven't done that yet and you're just starting today, or even if the day is half gone, you can still go and get yourself ready. You can fix your hair. You can dress in something nice. You can put a little bit of scent on. And these days, you don't have to wear anything overpowering as far as scent because everything is so natural. Like they have, I was looking at some of the scents in the stores the other day, and they had strawberry, and they had cucumber, and they had all these natural flavors. And so these days, you know, to wear a scent around the house every day, you don't have to worry about using up expensive things. So the reason to prepare your appearance, one of the reasons is that it shows respect for yourself. It shows respect for the Lord who made you, who created you. It shows gratefulness to Him. You want to look your best for Him. And also it shows that He didn't make something worthless. And so you want to dress up. You want to look good. Do your best. Dress your best. Now, what I'm wearing today, I will wear an apron over it when I get ready to go and clean my kitchen later on. And in the olden days, the ladies used to take the apron off when they went to the door to answer it, or if they were expecting someone. So that apron means, what the apron is so wonderful about is you can dig back in your closet and pick some of your best things and wear them. And the apron I'm talking about is the pinafore style that goes over your shoulders, goes over your head and your shoulders, and has this part covered, so because that's where you get all your splashing, and that's where you get all the flour and things from the kitchen on it. And it will protect your clothing, and you can wear your clothing a lot longer before it has to go in the wash, your outer clothing, if you will wear an apron. And I think aprons are really important. You can buy them online, and Hobby Lobby has aprons for about $7.99, $8.99. Everything's about 40 to 50% off there all the time. So don't let the price daunt you, because it's always less than it says on the tag. Now, also, I had a poem that I wanted to read you, and I forgot it, but it was called Do Something for Somebody Quick. So you can look that up on the web. And it was about, it was for children, and we used to read these to our children. Are you worried and sad about something? And, you know, are you moping around and feeling sorry for yourself? Then do something for somebody quick. And it was just the sweetest poem. I'll include that on my blog post, where you can also watch this video. And so when you think like that, you think your people and your family, they're more important than somebody else. So when you are cleaning house, you're doing something for somebody else. And if you can just put your mind to that and say, I'm doing this for them. But you also have to do it for yourself, because you're a person and you're important, and you want to give yourself a lovely place to live. You don't want to live less than anybody else. And one of the things that you can do to improve it is just to straighten it up and clean it. So if you're having trouble getting started, that's what I would suggest you do after you have prepared your appearance, to start in on housework. Now, most people say that doing the kitchen first is a great boost, because that usually is the biggest problem. The kitchen always needs attention. If you'll go in there and get that started first and get that finished, somehow the rest of the house seems easier once you do that. And so I would suggest the kitchen. And also I want to talk to you a little bit. Somebody asked me once about how to overcome laziness or avoid laziness. And it has taken me all this time, because I've just been thinking and thinking and thinking about it. And I do have a struggle with it. So I thought, what is it that would help me the most with overcoming laziness, and procrastination, I guess, would be the same thing, or, not doing 100%. So the thing that I thought of is, you hear all these things about, just do your best. Well, for me, that is not going to work, because doing my best is very limiting. I can do my best, but I need something to push me further. So I have to do better. I have to go one step better. I have to strain myself. I have to push myself to do something beyond the call of duty, beyond my best. It has to be better than my best. And when I do that, the housework is a lot easier, because I don't have to keep doing it over and over, because I've done it so well that I don't have to go back and the next day it's all falling apart. I do it extremely well, and that's the only way that I can fight laziness. And the other thing that helps, I think, is the appearance. Getting up, getting dressed, getting your your skin care and your hair care. That's really, really helpful, because you are going to catch a glimpse of yourself every now and then. And if you can smile in the mirror and be happy with your appearance, you're going to be a little bit more motivated. And so fight laziness by doing better than your best. Doing your best is quite limiting. That's really just going with what you can get by with. And doing your best is okay, but your best might not be the same as somebody else's best. So what I like to do is just go beyond that. I just want to run a race and beat everybody. I want to do better than my best and better than everybody else's best. I think it's more fun to have a goal that is excellent and beyond your best. It's more fun for me anyway. It's more motivating for me to do something that's beyond ordinary, beyond the ordinary. So I want to clean and arrange and make it an absolute delight. And if my heart leaps when I've cleaned up my kitchen or my living room, then I know other people are going to be very happy with it too. Plus, it might help motivate them. So now I want to move on to more housekeeping, and where you can stop overlooking things. For example, you go into your kitchen or your dining room and there's a pile in the corner, but you've stopped feeling bad about it. That means that it's been there too long. And or you're in your kitchen and somehow it just aggravates you, or there's something that depresses you. You can change things. You can change things around. You don't have to leave things in the same place. And we all develop habits after a while, and so you can change things. You can change anything that's aggravating you, that just kind of makes you feel a little annoyed, because when you walk past it, it doesn't make you happy. And I'm very sensitive to that too. If I walk into the kitchen, and even if it's clean, you have to keep really alert, because you can stop seeing things after a while. You get used to something and you just stop seeing it. When you start feeling not as excited about life at home, or when you feel like you want to just get away from it, that might be the time to change your colors, to change your furniture around, to just give it a new look, paint something, clean something. And that's kind of a signal, but we don't always feel that, do we? Because boredom and laziness are dull, and we don't notice it as much as we do happiness and excitement and glee. So they're signals, but they're very hard to see, because they are the dull, sleepy things. And so you need to be alert to those: boredom and laziness and just a feeling of lethargy. And you don't want to get like that, because then your house begins to slide. You want to be happy about it. And you also want to, I do anyway, I don't know about you, this is just my opinion, and that is, I want to go beyond and move forward in life. So I want to move forward. I don't want to have the same problems all the time. I want to solve them and move forward. And so whether it's getting a house to look nice, or maybe you're not happy with a piece of furniture that just doesn't really work for you, finding a place to put it, or just just changing things around. I think it's very, very healthy and very good, very healthy for the house too, to change things around, change your tablecloths, change your cushions, change things around, because it wears out that area of the floor differently. And the sun comes in on certain furniture. You move the furniture around, it won't fade everything. And so it's just the attitude that your house also has to serve you. You can't serve it. And if you feel like it's controlling you, then you're not controlling it, and it will be a burden to you. So what you want to do is feel like, I am going to teach this house a lesson. I'm going to clean it up, that it's not going to bother me anymore. So then you have to develop a bit of humor about it. And so the other thing is, as we move on into talking about other things, is I have really enjoyed, once a week I go to the dollar store and I spend about $5. That's about $20 a month. But I only spend what I need. You know, I buy my dish washer drops, and I buy my paper towels and napkins and things that I need. But I always like to look for something new that they have. And they're very good about keeping their merchandise fresh. And so, of course, I'm attracted to the florals. And I've really enjoyed bringing home a new floral stem, because I'm really into this new blush and the peach colors that they've got down there now. And that has really been something that I've enjoyed. I really enjoyed looking forward to doing that. Now, I like fresh flowers, but they're a lot of work. And recently I have been bringing home a stem of the florals from the Dollar Tree, and I have really enjoyed just laying them down with a bow on them or something. But I don't cut them up anymore and use them for anything. Some of the newest, I kind of browse the web sometimes and look at what's going on with florals, and they're putting them into bunches in a vase or vase. They're putting them into bunches and not cutting them up and distributing them evenly so much. So I started doing that with the dollar store florals. I'm not cutting them. I've lost my wire cutters anyway, so I'm just laying them down and piling them on each other and just enjoying the look, just like someone came in with an armload of flowers from the garden and just set them down, and it feels so natural. So that's just a little thing I wanted to share with you. It's not important, and you might not care about that sort of thing, but I just wanted to, just something that was on my mind that I thought might be fun to share with you. Now I want to go on. We do 3 things here for those of you who are new, and one of them is we start out with your appearance, and the other is the actual homemaking, homekeeping, which I've talked about quite a bit. And then the third one is dealing with your emotions or with other people. And everybody likes that. It's a lot of fun. And I know it's not so fun. It's a bit painful for people who are plagued with people that contradict them all the time, or who are negative all the time. That's a bit painful, but we can have a little fun with it. And of course, we all know people who like to contradict all the time. And then there are the other type. So I want to just introduce this type here, and I have a broad experience with this because I've been a preacher's wife for almost 40 years now, and my husband's been preaching for 50 years. And so I had to stop a long time ago getting my feelings hurt over the way some people behave, because there's so many of them. And then when you realize that they often don't realize they're doing it, or they've been in the habit for so long that they don't feel good unless they do it. And one of the things that has come up recently in conversations with some of my friends is the person who, I don't know if it would be a friend or member of the family, it could be anybody, that doesn't acknowledge that you have spoken to them. Now, I have found when they give you the silent treatment. So if you touch them and they still ignore you, then you know they're doing it deliberately, and they know that they're doing it. There are some people, of course, that really just didn't hear you. We understand that. But there's the person that will not answer. And myself, I don't require anyone into a deep intellectual conversation. I just like them to at least nod or to say something so I know that they have heard me. And I don't try to initiate conversation just to keep somebody busy, or if I sense that they're not conversational, I will only speak if absolutely necessary. Like I'll say, there's something for you at the door if you want to pick it up on the way out, something like that. But I'd like to have some kind of acknowledgement. Well, there have been ladies that have told me that people that they know, or maybe even in their own family, immediate or relatives, that will not answer. It doesn't matter what you say, they won't answer. They will not talk back. And it could be when they're growing up that their parents didn't teach them. A lot of people didn't actually grow up in the home. You know, they've all been shuffled out to daycares and to schools and to institutions outside of the home. And sometimes a teacher will miss that, and even a parent, even when you're homeschooling, even a parent can miss a few things. There's not enough time to teach them everything. I think they should stay home till they're 20 and learn it all, because one of the things parents often miss is children who won't answer when you talk to them. They become adults who will aggravate their mates because they will not answer when they're spoken to. And remember, there used to be an old saying, speak when spoken to. Whatever happened to that? I used to teach etiquette classes, and one of the things that we covered was speak when spoken to. And I noticed as the years went by in teaching this class that some of those things were bewildering to the young girls that I taught. They didn't know. They actually didn't know that when someone speaks to you, you're supposed to speak to them and or answer. And my father was so good, because if he was reading and he was preoccupied and I said something to him, or any of us said anything to him, he'd be reading and he'd say, yes, dear, in a minute, dear. At least you felt like a person. But there are people who will, by not answering you, make you feel invalid and invisible. And they may be trying to do that. They may know that that's what it makes you feel like. It makes you feel, see, when you don't answer, here's what happens. The other person feels more and more foolish repeating what they said, and they realize that they sound trivial, and they realize they feel stupid. And that's what makes them feel like when you don't answer and the person has to repeat or ask you over and over. And I always think it's very, very sad when a child wants his mother and father's attention, and they'll say their mother and father, they'll say their name over and over, and then pat them, and the parents still ignore them. I think that's very rude. So that's the second thing. It's either ignorance or it's rudeness. Now, if an adult does not answer when someone speaks to them, they are being rude. If they're not speaking to their child, they're teaching their child to do the same thing. They're teaching their child to be very rude. Now, children will be whatever you are yourself. That is what they will be. If you've got anything in you that is rude, they'll pick it up. You don't even have to tell them. You don't have to teach them. They'll pick it up. They'll be whatever you train them to be. They'll be whatever you teach them to be. And if you don't teach them something and you have a bad habit, they will be what you are. And so this is why homeschooling is so sweet, because you change, you face yourself, you realize, oh, my children are imitating me. When you send them away to other people to take care of all day, they're going to imitate those people, and they will not reflect your personality. But when you're home, it gives you a chance to improve. When they're home with you, you get to improve. And I know there are a lot of parents that really don't agree with that, but that's just what happens. They watch what you do. They watch how many times you go to the fridge. They watch how you answer and talk to people on the phone. They hear. They observe everything. In fact, they learn the language from you. Whatever language you speak, your children learned it from you. You don't think you're smart. just think of this. They learned to speak the language the way it's supposed to be spoken from you. And they've learned a lot of habits from you. So make sure that one of them is not rudeness and not speaking when you're spoken to. Now let's just go through a few things that a person who rudely will not answer you. When you finally confront them and you say, you didn't answer me today, and I don't require an answer, but at least could you acknowledge that I said something? And if that person says, well, I wasn't aware that I was ignoring you, and then you push it further and say, well, I did try to make you aware. I repeated it, and I tapped you on the shoulder, and you still didn't answer me. Then the person will say something like this. Well, you're such a critic, aren't you? Okay, that proves that they are trying to distract and change the subject. This is often what happens. Or they will tell you something about yourself that's not very flattering and try to put you down because you wanted to get some kind of acknowledgement that you had said something. So they'll say, you're quite the critic, aren't you? So then you start feeling bad because, oh my goodness, I criticized this person because they didn't speak to me. When actually you didn't. You may have just said, is there some reason why you didn't speak to me? But you see, a person who's rude takes everything as criticism. For instance, if you found them out and you didn't realize that that you had found them out, you were just inquiring why they didn't answer, that other person feels criticized because they're guilty. So they will throw out all kinds of things like, well, all you do is think about yourself. Well, all you do is criticize. Well, all you do is, well, you're just and so what that is distraction. So what you have to do with people who are ignoring you, giving you the silent treatment, is say, okay, you can have a little fun with it, Okay, so you're giving me the silent treatment. I get that. So I'm not going to tell you where I'm going now. And if you don't see me tonight or tomorrow, don't forget, you didn't answer my question. And I'm not going to answer yours. And you can have a little fun with it. They usually come out of their slump and their pout by then and will answer you. Now, even children, I'm talking about children right now, even children, when you ask them where are you going, they are supposed to tell you where they go, because we, as a family, and the parents, children like to know where their father is and where their mother is or where their mom is going, and we like to know where they are going. If they get into a kind of a conceited mood where they will not answer and not say where they're going, are they going outside, are they going to their room, or are they going somewhere, then it's a lot of fun to play that with them, because you can disappear quite quickly and they will panic. They won't like that. But they also need to be taught it's probably better to bring them to your side and put your arm around them and say, it's not very polite to not answer when you're spoken to, because it can cause a great deal of trouble later on, and it could cause harm to someone. For example, and you could spell out an example of someone who's not answering, and there were parables and fables that were told about this years ago, and such as, well, I can't think of one right now, but if someone does not answer, it could also spell danger. If they don't answer, there could be something wrong. So you want to not answer only if you can't. But if you can, you should. And adults who aren't answering need to realize they're giving a very bad example to their children. They're also causing marriage problems if it's a husband and wife and one of them is not answering. That is very, very rude. And actually, not answering and not communicating is probably complained about more than anything else. And my husband has had a lot of, sermons on marriage and experience with couples that have had problems. And one of the worst problems is when the other person won't answer. And that's real interesting, isn't it? It's probably worse than anything that People complain about that the most. So if you're not answering when someone is speaking to you, and it's kind of a habit. It might have started in youth, it might have started in childhood, and the parents didn't catch it. But it is saying to the person who is trying to talk to you that they're stupid, their comment was stupid, their question was stupid, it's not worth answering, so you're just not answering. And if you feel that what they have asked is not appropriate, you would say, I'd like to answer, but is there some reason you asked that question? It's a little inappropriate. And we used to say, I can't answer that because it's private. But we wouldn't ignore people because it doesn't actually teach them anything. It just teaches them to act that way, but it doesn't actually, the message doesn't get to them that it's an inappropriate question or comment if you ignore it. The message actually does not get to them. They'll just keep doing it. So what you have to do is answer. And you have to say, I don't want to answer that because I don't think it's any of your business, or I don't like the question or something. It's better to validate them and to answer. Now, this has been a problem, I think more now than ever. So if you have any ideas, please leave a comment. And remember that some people don't know they're doing it. Some people aren't aware of it. And some people actually don't hear you. And if they say, I didn't hear you, and it happens a lot, then offer to have their hearing checked, okay? That could help. And if they're doing it unconsciously or just rudely, then asking them to have their hearing checked, you probably don't want to go do that, and they might change their attitude. And so now I want to talk about one more thing in my last few minutes here, and that is how to take, now we talked about people not answering and how it makes you feel. Sometimes it makes you feel invalidated, or if they've said something rude to you, it can grieve your heart. And I'm bringing this up because you might not have experienced it if you've been at work all the time outside the home, and then in the home you want everyone to be nice to you, and that's what the home is all about. We're nice to each other. It's a place where people have to be nice to each other. And so what I would suggest you do is turn your worry into work. And you can clean your house, you can do whatever you want, and every time you get a worrisome feeling or you get your feelings hurt, turn it into work. You will have a blessed time turning that energy into something positive. And that way you don't dwell on it, and that way you don't create some kind of more problems at home, but you just get busy. And I knew a lady who used to be so busy that if she was sitting in her living room and the conversation was getting critical, or people were just not being as intelligent as they should, she would just excuse herself and get up and go make tea, and then come back in and offer tea to someone. Or she would get up and go do something else for a while, come back and check on them, that sort of thing. So if you could turn your worry into work, and it's the same with the modern pestilence or the modern wars and rumors of wars and all the political turmoil, and you get to thinking about that and worrying about that, turn it into work and see what a difference it makes. So thanks for listening, ladies. I hope it's been helpful, and I hope you got something done, or at least maybe it helped you settle down. I hope you feel better now than when you first came, and I hope it left you feeling like the best is yet to come. So ladies, please leave a comment, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.